if I were in a situation where I was in a breakout room session and a student asked me for an answer that I don't know the answer to, I would be honest to them during that point and say I don't know the answer to this problem, and it's unrealistic to have every solution to a problem. And I think being honest upfront is better than trying to come up with a solution on the spot and failing. And yeah, so after that, I would be honest with them and I would refer to the resources given to me as a TF by leveraging the course portal and the instructor slides. And since I took this class and I have a general knowledge of the class since I took it previously, it wouldn't take me that long to find the solution to the problem. However, after finding out the solution to the problem, I would not give the answer to the student immediately, since I could use this as an opportunity to promote their critical thinking skills, since that's the best way to learn, especially in programming. So, what I would do instead of just giving out the answer, I would give them hints and guide them to the answer, which they can derive from themselves. If I were in a pod during a breakout session and all the cameras are off and there's no active participation, I would first of all assume that they must have finished the lab already, since in the iOS class, breakout sessions are usually made for students to collaborate and finish the lab together. So I would first ask if they have finished the lab or not. And if they have finished the lab, I would ask if they have any um, conceptual or having a hard time understanding the concept, because sometimes students can just copy and paste the code but not really understand what's going on in the code base. So that might happen or not, but I would still ask if they need any help clarifying on the concepts, since this is a pretty complicated class. It can get pretty intimidating, and it also builds relationship between the TF and the students, where they can rely on the TF when they need help for something. However, if they have not finished the lab, that probably means that no one has shared the screen and they're probably doing it on their own. And since the lab is set up where a person is sharing their screen, I would prompt some or I would ask someone to share their screen. And if they have problems doing the lab, I would be there for them by guiding them in implementing and finishing the lab. So that could mean giving hints, helping them out by writing the pseudocode so they can understand the concept of the lab. The concept of table views is that it allows us to organize our data in a single column. So, table views allows us to have a table row. And table row is just a generalized user interface of a single data element. So let's say for example we have a collection of movies, and we'll assume that it's contained in an array where each element of the array is a movie data type. And let's say movie data type has two attributes. The first attribute is called the title or the movie title, which lists the name of the movie, of course. And the second attribute is the movie description that lists what the movie is about. So in our user interface, we would want to display the movie data where we render the title name of the movie and the description of the movie. But since we're going to have multiple elements of data, that would mean we would need to manually create the labels for each one. So that would mean for from let's say we have like 1,000 movies, we would need to create 1,000 text labels and 1,000 um, description labels. However, we can use something called table rows. Table rows is the generalized user interface which allows us to render each data element in a specific format. So Our generalized view for the data or for the movie type is rendering simply the title's name and the movie's description. And from there, it would automatically create the user interface for each movie element. And table views is just a collection of table rows, where each table row will be rendered one by one on the table view. And if the table view exceeds the screen size, let's say we have like 1,000 movies, it's gonna overfill our screen. But a cool thing about table views is that if it exceeds the height of itself by the number of table rows, it will automatically render it where the user can scroll on the table view and see more table rows that has exceeded the height of the table view. So in summary, table views is a collection of table rows that allows us to organize our data in an organized manner, which is most likely in a single column. And table rows is the um, unified, or generalized user interface for a data element. And table views allows us to organize those table rows in our mobile application very efficiently, which also prevents redundancy when each particular data element has a specific way that we want to render it on the screen.